felt wanted and had a home here.
Thank you.
No problem.
You're killing it on the recruiting trail. What's the response you must be getting is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like recruiting is my backbone, man. That's what I do. I do it in my sleep, and I'm really, key in on evaluation. I feel like I've been evaluating NFL talent or collegiate talent since I was 10 years old, reading the paper. So what makes an athlete good? It's a lot of guys that in the past that I've recruited, and when I get them committed, they're a 3-star. On signing day, they're a 5-star. So now with the nature of the game, when I was in high school, I graduated in 2008. When the rankings came out, you might as well pour concrete. They weren't changing. Right. Nowadays, rankings change every 2 weeks, so you better trust your eyes and your evaluation and make sure that I'm after a good football player. Do I believe in him as a football player? I believe you should be able to walk in a gym and be able to point out the best football player. Not get a list and say, oh, this guy's number 1, this guy's number 2. No, forget that list. I need to be able to walk in the gym and be able to point out who's number 1, who's number 2, who's number 3.
What's the first thing you look at?
From a cornerback standpoint, my non-negotiables will be tough and competitive. Third on my list, movement skills. You got to be able to move as a corner. You got to be able to get in and out of your breaks, your change of direction, your feet, your hips. Speed isn't so high up on my list because I feel like speed is something that I evaluate on the field. Speed is something that you can track on the field. It's easy for a guy that can run fast on the field. You got a receiver, he runs 10-2. Most likely running 10-2, you can't change directions in and out of your breaks. Right. So really just watching, verifiable football speed. And I feel like there's so many metrics out now. Something we utilize, tracking football, which will kind of give you the gauge of the kid's athleticism off a highlight tape. Because now the days are over where your top kid is going to come run a 40-yard dash in front of you and get verified speed metrics. So we got to do our job, and luckily sports science has increased to give us those resources to say, hey, this guy doesn't run track. This guy hasn't came to camp. Can I verify his speed? Because if a guy runs 10.5, I should be able to see that on the highlight tape. It's going to verify the speed that I saw on the highlight tape. But if a guy doesn't have a highlight tape, or if a guy doesn't have an open 100-meter dash time or open 200-meter dash time, a lot of guys, their evaluation is conjecture, is incomplete. Versus if you have other resources where you can measure a kid's athleticism on a scale, it gives you such a competitive advantage in the recruiting landscape. Because I will say this, now when you look at the recruiting landscape, with NIL, it's changed the dynamic of recruiting. If I'm a blue blood program, they're not signing 4 high school wide receivers anymore. They're going to sign 2 high school wide receivers, and they'll go in the portal and get the kid that had 70 catches, 1,000 yards at Wake Forest. The kid that had 50 catches at North Carolina got 3 years of eligibility left. So it's creating an interesting dynamic for Arizona State to be able to attract blue chip talent that essentially before NIL would be farm guys at the blue blood program sitting in a crock pot on a low simmer waiting to get an opportunity to play year 3, year 4. So we got to strike while that iron is hot before people sober up with NIL right now. But it's creating an unbelievable opportunity for us at Arizona State.
It's the opportunity to get a better caliber of player.
Yeah, because that kid can't commit to Alabama right now. The kid can't commit to those blue blood programs because they're waiting on the top guys, and then why sign 4 wide receivers in high school if I can, utilize NIL, quote unquote, and get, really good proven players.
Wow. What, in your opinion, makes a great recruiter? What do you think are those?
A great recruiter is somebody that listens, somebody that is a salesman, somebody that believes in the product. Because I believe if you believe in the product, you'll be a better salesman. You'll believe in the product more, you'll give more effort, you'll give more initiative. Just being authentic. A lot of guys have a used car salesman pitch when it comes to recruiting, to where the kids know this guy is on a count. He only got 5 lines and pulling a string out of his back, versus, hey, this is a real person. He's got depth. He's authentic. I believe in this guy. Versus some other guys are kind of like carbon copies and they don't separate themselves. And it's hard because our our jobs is based on the decision making of a 17-year-old making such a generational decision. So you gotta be authentic. You gotta be who you are. You can't fake it, because now with this young generation, they know it's real, they know it's fake, they don't give you an opportunity to reinvent yourself. So if you ruin your relationship during the recruiting process, you're playing behind the 8 ball, and you really got no shot.
Yeah. Do you sense a difference in the kids with this idea that, well, if this school doesn't work out, 2 years from now I'll be able to transfer somewhere else? In terms of
It's created like a get-out-of-jail-free card for some of those kids. But like I said, now it's not about just retaining talent. Acquiring talent, you got to retain those talents. So can you continue to recruit the core of your roster? And a lot of stuff is advanced and evolved, so I got to evolve my pitch when I get a kid committed. I got to prepare to keep this kid here for the long haul, because I don't want to win a recruiting battle and then after 1 year, if stuff doesn't go his way, he's jumping back in the portal. So really just identifying who they are as a person, because I'm a firm believer you got to coach the person before you coach the player. So just really buying into having a real relationship with the kid outside of football, coaching him in life outside of just football. And trying to see where those pieces fit. So I feel good going into fall camp this Sunday with a deep group. Shamari played really exceptional in Austin Peay last year. So really just giving him an opportunity to measure himself up against Power 5 talent as far as our roster makeup, and really giving him an opportunity to succeed in our system over spring ball. I think where he did really exceptional. He did a really good job, and he didn't look like an FCS guy. All the guys we brought from the FCS level don't look like FCS prospects. They actually look like Power 5 guys. So kudos to us for evaluating, and we feel like we like the guys that we brought on board.
Coach, I kind of want to take you back to your first day with the DB room. What was your kind of overall message, setting the tone for what this unit is going to accomplish this season?
Yeah, really, I feel like we put a lot of work in. You got to go through winter, off season, fall camp, summer workouts. Then we get into fall camp, which is really treacherous. You put a lot of work in, and you want to be rewarded for their work. So just giving guys perspective. I've been at a lot of places and played in some really good bowl games. So just showing the guys what it takes to make the necessary deposits daily to get those dividends on the back end. But you work treacherously throughout the year. You want to have success in the season. So just letting those guys know that the price, for success and what that costs.
Yeah. In the spring, was there something that you maybe learned about yourself as a first-time position coach about this is going to be my coaching voice? This is how I want to relate to my players. This is my own style. Because you've always had that from a recruiting perspective, and just on social media. The content's great, obviously, but was there something on the field that you found that you didn't know you had before?
Yeah, really, from a teaching aspect, was a lot of growth this spring. Kind of first day, 1 day, 2 day, 3 install. I kind of wanted to feed our guys a lot of information versus telling them the information necessary to go out there and function at practice, and then bringing the coaching aspects to the field. And dealing with guys these days, attention spans kind of run low a little bit, so you don't need to be in a position meeting for an entire hour. Knock out what you need to knock out and then get on the grass for guys to kind of learn hands-on, because everybody learns different. So just figuring out, some guys learn better in a meeting setting, some guys learn better on the field, with tangible examples. So just really finding out which ways guys learn in my room and being able to make sure that I'm giving everybody what they need, instead of just not conforming to guys that learn in the meeting room. Some guys learn outside of the meeting room. So I kind of want to, give guys the opportunities to learn the best way that they learn how, and, allocating the time properly.
Do you feel like just having a strong recruiting background helped you with that? Because you have to kind of adapt your relationship from kid to kid, and kids come from different backgrounds, different schools, different homes. Yeah. Did that help you a lot?
Yeah, because I believe you have to coach the person before you coach the player. So when I first got here in January, it was like I need to get to know these guys, and I need to know their reason, their motivation, their purpose. So when I get on the field, I can hold guys to a certain standard and accountability. If your goal is to make it to the NFL, but you're lazy in practice, you're not showing up to meetings on time, you're not getting the extra work you need with strength and conditioning, and taking care of your body with sports medicine. If your reason, your motivation, your purpose doesn't mean anything to you, why should it mean something to me? So just really trying to get to know who my players were underneath the helmet was key. And I know that from a recruiting standpoint because I do feel like this game is all about relationships and building relationships and maintaining relationships with young men.
Yeah. At practice, it seemed like every day you started with some sort of ball skills drill, whether it's high pointing the ball or tracking it over the shoulder. It seemed like that was a priority emphasis for you in practices. So I guess my question to you is where does that rank on your list of things that you want this position group to be good at?
Yeah, I want us to be a group that creates a lot of takeaways, so I just want to create that muscle memory from some of those guys that, see the ball, attack the ball, tips and overthrows, you want to make those plays. So just making sure that guys protect the football. And if you have an opportunity to give our offense back to football, then I want to really prioritize and emphasize that. Outside of that, feet is important for my DBs, feet, movement skills. So you'll see a lot of that as we get into fall camp, just really focusing on releases, focusing on footwork. And, when our guys have an opportunity to make a play on the ball, I want those guys to be able to make those plays.
Yeah. From an overall defensive standpoint heading into fall camp, what's the main area that you want to attack and get ready on? And then also that extends to your position group as well. Kind of the main thing that you're going to harp on to begin fall camp.
Yeah, I want our guys to not beat themselves pre-snap. I want the guys to be aligned properly, because the offense is going to give us so many different formations and we got to make the puzzle fit. So I just want guys to really understand the intricacies of our defense and what we're trying to achieve and not beat ourselves pre-snap. If we can achieve that, I feel like we'll be really, really successful as a unit. And then outside of that, I like I said before, it's repetitive, but I want our guys to be really confident in their feet. And I want them to show me they're confident by their feet. When I watch film and we review film, I want you to show me that you're right with your feet. I want you to reap confidence, but I don't want to see it verbally. I want to see it with your feet.
Right, visually. Yeah. I guess there's so many styles and faces and age ranges on this defense. It seems like you have a really great mix of playmakers here. Taking that all into account, how difficult is it to kind of adjust your coaching style for someone like Jordan Clark, who's been here a long time, compared to one of your younger freshmen that you have?
I feel like we got a lot of older guys that are a lot mature, and they have a pro mentality, and they understand the nature of this game, and I feel like Jordan Clark is a leader of our defense. He's mature, he's locked in, and I feel like we have a lot of good problems right now, because I feel like we have a lot of depth in that position, and our job, me and Coach Ward's job, is to make sure that we field our best 11, so just heading into fall camp, I couldn't be more excited about where we are now versus when we arrived.
Yeah. What do you think, if everything goes right with this defense and this scheme in the way that you envisioned it to, what is the ceiling of this defense, do you think?
I don't want to set a ceiling. Right now I'm a guy that undersells, over delivers. I like what we have right now. I just want to get these guys to have the mentality to take everything one game at a time. I don't want them looking into the future at big matchups down the road, because I do feel like this is a strong year for the Pac-12. So there are going to be marquee matchups down the road, but I don't want our guys to worry about that. I want them to worry about what's in front of them, what's ahead of them, and just taking it 1 week at a time.
Do you kind of tell your guys that you're not going to get any better competition going up against receivers and their quarterbacks, especially just like you said, looking at the Pac-12 this year, it's just a loaded conference of playmakers. You kind of let them know that and be like, this is where the money's made.
I think they know that. I think they know that. I think being in the Pac-12, playing DB, especially for Arizona State, you walk outside and you see sunshine and green skies, blue skies, and not a cloud in the sky. As a cornerback or as a DB, you're going to get some action. So I feel like with that, there's a lot of national publications and media attention towards the quarterbacks in this league. So I think they get that on their own, and I'm not a guy that is constantly reminding them of that. I want them guys to focus on us, because, we just got to put ourselves in a position where we don't beat ourselves.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
How's everything going?